As part of the generation that grew up on the original version of Gran Turismo, the Honda Civic Type R always felt like kind of a unicorn. Something that was meant to be admired from afar and never touched or certainly ever driven on American roads. Then 2017 happened, and Honda, after decades of dangling it in front of us, decided to bring the Civic Type R to America. Only it wasn't the same kind of Type R that I've been dreaming of since the mid-90s. This time it had a turbo, and it wasn't subtle looking at all. But once ensconced in those lovely red seats with hand resting lightly on that aluminum shift knob, all doubts that the FK8 generation Civic Type R might not be worthy of the badge went away. It's a hell of a thing. Now, fast forward 3 years to 2020, the Type R has soldiered on, selling decently well for a nigh on $40,000 Civic, and it's undergone relatively few changes year to year. That's all changing now, according to our man Stephen Ewing. See, he just got back from Milan, Italy, where Honda revealed its many plans for the Type R going forward. Many of which thankfully involve us Americans, and that's what we're going to discuss on this week's AutoComplete. Arguably the biggest news to do with the 2021 Honda Civic Type R is the introduction of a new trim level. It's called the Limited Edition, and unlike other manufacturers, Honda means limited. It's only making 1,000 of them, and the lion's share, some 600 units, are coming to the United States. What makes it special? Well, in addition to the fact that they're all going to be painted a sweet shade of Phoenix Yellow, Honda's put the Type R on a diet and upgraded its suspension. Specifically, US spec limited editions will lose 46 pounds, which it's not nothing. Now, Euro and Japanese versions lose 76 pounds, but those poor fools have to do without air conditioning or a radio. Listen, if a no-compromise Le Mans LMP1 car has air conditioning, then Honda can damn well leave it in a hot hatch. In any case, those suspension changes I mentioned include dampers that were retuned, recalibrated power steering, and, we're very excited about this, new tires. Which tires? Ha! Try Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s, arguably among the finest, totally overkill for road use tires on sale today. The Type R's engine is unchanged, but the added grip provided by the suspension mods should make the limited edition a real monster on track. But wait, there's more. Some of us around the office have been pining for a more low-key Type R, something more akin to the more restrained versions that Honda produced in the 90s, or maybe another way to look at it would be kind of like the GT3 touring formula applied to the Type R. Honda apparently bugged our offices because it's making one. The big bummer is that unlike the limited edition, the Sportline isn't coming to the US. So what exactly are we missing out on? Well, the good news, for us, is that it's still not really what I'd call subtle. That rear wing is still there, but it's smaller, and so are the wheels. It's still got a lot going on stylistically that isn't really any different than the standard Type R either. That bumper is still pretty angry and pointy, and it's still rocking a hood scoop. The other big changes that the car gets, though, are some extra sound deadening, making for a slightly less raucous ride. It also gets less aggressive tires and goes from a red interior to a black one. Oh, and it gets gray paint too. And what is Honda's reasoning for not giving us this more grown-up Type R? The youths. Or, specifically, the Civic's positioning as a more youth-focused model here in the US. That's code for we sell all the Type Rs we import, and we don't need you grumpy olds buying them up and diluting our brand image, I think. It's not the end of the world, and hey, if you have to ditch the wings and stuff on your Type R, there's always the aftermarket. Finally, I figured I'd end this whole thing on a high note. Specifically, Honda confirmed that it's taking the Type R back to the Nürburgring. Now, according to the folks at Honda, it's not to reclaim the production front-wheel drive record from the Renault Megane RS Trophy R, but we're betting they won't be too upset if they manage it anyway. The real purpose for going back to the green heck is to, and I'm quoting here, verify and confirm the improvement level of all those technical measures in a lap time. Now, call me a skeptic, but the engineers at Honda aren't exactly dummies, so I'm betting they already know that their little tweaks were effective. This feels more like the company giving itself a gold star for doing a good job, and you know what? That's fine. The point is that we, as the public, will soon likely get to see some super hairy-looking front-wheel drive time attack footage on YouTube, and I don't know about you all, but I'm extremely here for that. Well, that's it for this edition of AutoComplete. Once again, I've been Kyle Hyatt, and if you like what we're doing, then consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons. I'd also really appreciate it if you head down to the comments section and let us know what you want us to cover in future episodes. Thanks, and we'll see you again next week.